February, and she's
Well, every time
booking her
I
plane
it's
ticket
never
to
back
Texas.
in.
Because the lady down there, she had surgery or
camera.
something, so she asked if she'd come help her clean up her house and then drive her to Tennessee. She's like, you can just come hang out for a month and then we'll head up. Mom's like, okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So she called me, she's like,
This wasn't
I've been looking at
booked in, so
booking my plane ticket. I'm like, yeah, I'm already. I said, we get a little bit of snow and you're like, I'm out of here or
Assume
what?
it needs to be in the data.
She's like, I
port,
do
not
miss it
the
down there,
charging
it's so
port.
nice.
Yeah,
Alright, whatever.
still TVs aren't coming on either.
Tell her to go look at a house. And she was gonna buy my mom a house while I was down there. Mom's like, no, I'm not taking that. No, I can't afford that. I can't.
Girl, I'm seeing, she was an airport. And she's,
Oh,
what was it?
Gary, I do have an extra one.
She's getting close to Naples from the house. No. Cousin, she's got this, Johnson, she started taking all this.
Well, at least it's picking up sound now.
That's too bad.
30,000 a year. Only there for a month or two, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
Right? Yeah.
Spend a week here, a week there, 2 weeks here, and you don't have to do it. And I want to go to Naples for 2 months.
They're trying so hard.
Take your kids and grandkids and go to Disney World for a week. Shocking out here.
Mom told her, she was like, if you wanna buy it for like an investment property for yourself,
Sources, room.
you want me to clean it? Cause well, my mom
Maybe
she
I'm gonna
cleans.
do that.
So there's like 5 people down in Texas that she helps. Goes and cleans their house and gets to, they go, I think they go elsewhere, so they're empty houses and she just stays in the house. And they let her do what she wants. And she's like, but if you're gonna buy it for you, then that's your choice. She goes, it needs a lot of work that I can't afford to do. Like, I don't have that type of income. Shouldn't have a retirement or anything, so.
I got a neighbor that passed away about a month ago. He was a hoarder. And people didn't realize how much of a hoarder. He still had his brother's clothing. He was a clothing guy 18 years ago, another guy 12 years ago. And I took off last week to get that place. And they had the biggest dumpster you could have. They filled it up in a day, and it's still not.
Old Pat would be drilling over at Schoolhouse Auction. He started getting into those estate sales, and he's like, oh man, he goes, some of the kids show up and they don't want to do it. They don't want to deal with it, so they're just like, clean it out. And he goes, oh man, I've cleaned out some nasty houses, but he goes, the nastier the better.
So we're gonna go anyway, Mike? Whether it's recording or what?
I assume it's not gonna work, so I'll just quit. We can go on whenever, and I'll just record it on my phone, and if anybody's got an issue with it, said.
They're more. God. He goes, it's bad. I think so. John had to mention, because my dad was $1,000 you didn't find in here. I'm like, oh, okay. That's, I mean, that's what you gotta look for. He's calling order.
Yep. I'm gonna call a meeting to order. Start out with the introduction of members, start with Carrie.
I'm Carrie Butcher, I represent the schools.
Chip White, Town of Yeoman.
Bob Gross, County Surveyor.
John Downey, County Commissioners.
Kevin Gittens, Ag Extension.
Or Mills, sorry.
Mike Martin, Carroll County Area Plan.
Cindy Harmon, Legal Counsel.
First item on the list is the last minute's meetings. Look over those.
Move to approve.
All those in favor of accepting last minute's meetings, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the accessory dwelling update. I'll let Mike talk about this a little bit on as into what we need to do next.
So I took the accessory dwelling unit nuisance ordinance and the minor subdivision ideas before the commissioners last week or whatever, and everything, they essentially liked everything. They just wanted a favorable recommendation from the area plan commission for their accessory dwelling unit update, and they seem to have liked the idea of it and how it was gonna be handled. So they have copies of everything, they've seen it all. They would just like to have a favorable recommendation from this board, and then they would be willing to vote on it.
Does the board have any more questions on that before I open up for public conversation?
Okay.
So it is a public meeting on this topic. Marion, do you have any input?
What?
Accessory dwelling, I didn't know if you came for that or,
Yes, I did. Miriam Rose in Carroll County. Yes, I'm starting to have clients who do want to do it. Well, I'm sure you're aware that we have clients that already have done this. And I do have clients who want, in fact, we want to do it on our farm too, is have an accessory dwelling unit for family to come and spend extended periods of time. Some of them are putting in-laws or other family members. You used to have a mother-in-law suite in your house. I think people want family members a little bit further away than that, but still available. So this is becoming a much more interesting and popular thing to do, and I appreciate that you're taking a look at it. The only question I had, after looking at what you had provided, it says, I just need some interpretation. It says that it can't be to the front of the primary building.
Yes, it would still have to be within the setbacks of the original zoning district.
But it can't be in front of, so so it has to
Can't have
be
it
the
closer
same.
to the road.
Can't have it close to the road.
Right, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, like for instance, one family, they wanted to just, they already have a standing house, and they wanted to put a separate quarters in the house, so an adult dependent that has special needs could essentially have their own everything, except they still live with the family. So it's not like they're putting it up close to the road, it's still part of the original house. Does that make sense?
Well, that really wouldn't be an accessory dwelling unit though. It's still-
Well, it's kind of, it's, you know,
Talking about putting a house in front of a house.
I'm gonna,
Actually, no, I'm not. The one that I have the plans for is the house is set back from the road. And the accessory dwelling
Oh.
unit is going to be to the side, but it's going to technically be a little bit further in front. That's so that the main drive can hit both houses.
yeah, so it's not like
It's not in
closer
front
than
of it.
50 feet to the road, you're still within the
Right.
setbacks.
Yeah, that's-
I think that would be acceptable, that's not the intent. The intent is not to get a variance or something like that.
Okay.
not to blow bullet holes through this, but as an example, what happens if you have a 1 acre lot? They
It-
built the house at the back of the property, and they're within 10 feet of the property. I don't know if this would happen. What would an individual do that if the only readily available space they have with the property parameters is in the front of the house?
That's what I figured you were getting at, is the property was set far enough back.
I think
You could ask for special exception.
it'd be circumstantial,
Yeah.
you know. I could see that, like if it's something where it's a little questionable, like her situation, there's 20 acres, there's plenty of room, it's not gonna really affect anything. But a 1 acre one, I could see where it'd be like, we just bring it before the board, you guys give a favorable recommendation, I'm on
I'm not
board.
against it, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that
I
that is a
understand
gray
what you're
area.
saying. That's why when someone gets a 2 acre lot and they're like, hey, I want to build a pole barn and then build the house. So I'm like, well, that pole barn's an accessory building, so you can't necessarily put it 5 feet from the side and rear. You know, you still have to, the first building has to be within the original setbacks. Yeah, if that makes sense to you. People have tried to do that in the past, from what I understand. They'll, hey, I'm gonna build a pole barn, gonna have a small efficiency in there until we build the house. Well, it has to maintain the setbacks for a dwelling.
And some of that will be addressed by the limitation on size, but it's 800 square feet or less.
Mhm.
And that was another question that I had, that if somebody brought you plans for 1,000 square foot property, would that then be a variance
I-
or special exception?
I think
It would be a variance.
a variance.
Yeah,
Variance.
right. You know, and I think as long as you've got a lot that's going on that still has plenty of room on it, I think that's probably reasonable. Now, if somebody was building a unit that was the same size as the house itself,
Yeah.
it might be looked at differently.
Well, because some of them are, it's gonna be a recreational building for a family, and there's this, so the building might be 3,000 square feet, but it's got an apartment in it, or, lack of better terms, a living space. So, yeah, wanna keep that to, so it's not some big, huge,
Party barn,
Yeah, yeah.
but family party barn, not.
well,
Everybody can.
Well, my intent for this is to encourage people to permit the building properly, rather than, if I just leave a certain word or two out, I just go around it and do it anyway. This is to kind of bring it so we can permit it. It ends up on the assessor's records sooner, and it's not just flying under the radar.
This, like I said, I've been following this with interest, and I think I've got a couple clients that are going to be due door this summer.
Oh, I know, I guarantee it. One, go ahead.
Part of the problem is going to be for those smaller lots, 2 and 1 acre lots, is your septic and where the septic field is.
Yeah.
And the fact that they'll have to add on to the septic more likely when they build another
Right.
building with restroom and shower.
Even if someone is building a pole barn just with a flushing toilet, I make them go to the health department.
They
Yeah,
have to.
because there's times where like, guys are like, hey, I want a flushing toilet in a small office area where I can run the farm. Well, they have to leave certain things out of their plans because then it looks like a dwelling, right? So I want to encourage people, like when they build, this huge pole barn for their farm, like there is, this kind of falls outside of the accessory dwelling unit, but it's just, it's very, very difficult to be able to permit some of these structures without, there's a lot of loose ends that's kind of uncomfortable. I would like to have at least some way, like, okay, this is what it is.
Well, and that's where your protections are, is when you
Mhm.
have a restriction on how big it can be and require it to also have a septic permit, and you're going to then select the ones that are not really appropriate for accessory dwelling units. So,
Right.
I'm really supportive and looking forward to this.
Well, and like I said, with the permitting, it'd be permitted as an accessory dwelling unit. The pole barns, we would still permit them accordingly, but this is a shop with a flushing toilet and blah, 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 Thank you.
So this is a hearing then? Is it-
Correct. This is the public hearing for this.
The next step then would be to go to the March Commissioners meeting?
If
Well,
we-
I'm on the commissioners meeting for Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monday,
Which is
March.
which is March,
And I guess
yeah.
March 2nd, March 3rd.
No, there's 2 Februaries.
It was this time.
There was this time.
For us.
Yeah, for us, it was.
You guys getting overtime for this meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
that's one of the topics. I just didn't put it on here. Okay, so I'm gonna close the public. With further ado and so forth, we need a favorable
I
recommendation.
wish the camera was on for your facial expression.
Well, I mean, there's not been any challenge, no discussion. I mean,
Not
everybody's
yours,
okay with
John's.
it.
I move that we make a favorable recommendation to the commissioners of the accessory building unit addition to our zoning ordinance as presented.
Second.
All those in favor
It's got it.
Of the favorable recommendation motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
So do I need to put this in the form of for the commissioners, with all the, for them to sign and all that? They do? I think, yeah. All right.
You want their John Henry's on that for sure.
Yes.
So the next item is the nuisance ordinance, and I've talked with Mike. I guess I can let him elaborate. He was at the commissioners' meeting.
Yeah, again, didn't get any major pushback or anything from the two commissioners that are here. Scott and Bill were both here. Lauren was not. That neither one of those two had anything necessarily negative or anything major to add, and there's no significant questions. I just kind of elaborated, like getting vehicles moved out of perceived county right of way and stuff like that, that there needs to be a fairly quick process for that, and that's my intent, was that someone needs to be able to order these vehicles towed. So they understood and agreed with that if it's, essentially on the public right of way and it's disabled or broken down or not titled or registered or whatever, that it could be towed, and the owner does have an opportunity to get it back from the towing company and put it somewhere else, so that's on them. So, and Ted took what we had drafted up and essentially liked it, but he was going to kind of wordsmith it himself and make it so he was happy with it, and then at some point in time in the near future, he will bring it back
To us.
I don't think it needs to come back to us. Because we just basically gave them the idea, like here's a rough draft. So he's gonna word it so he could essentially fight it, right? If there is a legal action, he needs to be able to,
I think we need to see it.
to back it up.
Truthfully, because of
Well, but
what
we
you
really
said.
don't have any.
We don't have any say in it.
Yeah.
Not at this point.
They could have rewrote it themselves without us.
Yeah.
So we just kind of helped get the ball rolling. So
Right.
they could change it all or what, or not
Right.
change it. But Ted didn't seem to see any major hiccups other than just making sure that it was worded correctly and it was legal in his mind.
Was there any discussion about the council setting up a separate account?
We mentioned that, and Ted asked Beth about it, if there was a fund, where is it at? And there was kind of crickets on that, so that's something that'll have to be addressed also. And I'll circle back on that. Yeah, I'm on the agenda on Monday for all this stuff, so I'll just be like, hey, what's the next step? So I don't know if the commissioners will push that, that they need to bring that to the council, or if they'd like for me to bring it to the council and see what the correct steps would be. Because Ted seemed to think that there was a fund, or should be a fund, but I don't know what the number is, and
I talked to Warren one day and he thinks there's something somewhere else, so he just doesn't know where.
yeah, so,
We'll have to push it with both to get anywhere.
right. So, and I'll put myself on the next council meeting specifically for that, and I'll give them, just a courtesy, give them updates on the rest of the stuff that we're working on.
I would like to add that I thought they were very positive about it.
I thought so too. It was way better than in the past. At least receptive.
Very. Yeah, Bill was, yeah, I like that.
Well, and he brought up an example of one of his properties too, which was kind of funny. He's like, well, I might fall into this category. I said, well, if it's plated and registered, it's probably not a problem, you know what I mean? And he goes, what if it's considered yard art? I was like, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Guess I know where you should go looking, right?
Oh, yeah, well, he's like, well, I know where one's at, and I named it by name, exactly where it was and what vehicle it was.
That probably got
It did.
I could keep you busy around my area, that's for darn sure.
Well, the one thing we have to make sure is whenever they set up that fund, that it's totally a dedicated fund.
Yeah.
It cannot be accessed for
Yeah.
anything else.
No,
Well,
I'm
it's
just, that's why I was asking, because that's gonna make his job easier.
Oh, yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's already set up though, how do we get the wording changed? Or how do we figure out if it's already set up?
Well,
We'll
let's,
have to tell.
I'll figure it out, or I'll do a little bit more digging, because I've already asked every office in the courthouse, and no one seems to recollect. They know that maybe it did exist at some point in time, but no one knows. So I'll circle back on that again.
Yeah, if there's a fund created, then there's an ordinance that initiated that.
Yeah, and I
So
believe
Beth should
there
have
is.
those minutes
Yeah.
when that was created, and the specific purposes for that fund. So if it's there, we'll know what the rules are, and if the commissioners need to change those rules, or are willing to change the rules, when and if this is created, then they can do that.
The ordinance was originally set up in 2003.
2003, and then
2002.
yeah. Well, they created the ordinance, then a few years later, they created the fund, and there was some basic language talking about that, but it didn't have a fund number or anything like that. And there was, as far as I know, there was 3 ordinances created between like '02 and '09 that were in relevance to nuisance stuff. And at one time I had them all, but I could dig through all my stuff and pull them all out.
I just have 2002 and 2003.
I know
It's fine, as
when
long
I
as we just
found
get it
them,
resurfaced and make
Yeah.
sure that you have access, or
Yeah,
that's
'cause-
To make sure you have-
established.
Well, it'd be just like if the health department issues a fine, the check would be made out to the Carroll County treasurer, and when you put it in the funds, you put that nuisance fund number. No different than, we have a different fund for the
Exactly.
splits and stuff like that.
Okay. Any other questions about that? The next item is minor subdivision. I don't know how many people got a copy of this.
Oh, I don't think I gave you one. I just made that the other day,
That's
so.
all we got.
And that can be modified and adapted pretty much at any time, as far as I'm concerned.
What constitutes a minor subdivision?
So this is something Mike has kind of put together as a preliminary approval,
You're a mess.
and I was asking him, minor subdivision is basically 3 to 5.
It's a much better number than 8.
Well, and no, public improvements, no street, no water
No
lines,
street.
no sewer.
Yeah,
It has
that's-
to be accessible to it already existing.
Right, has to
That-
have a driveway
To, yeah, I
For
mean,
the-
to an existing
it can be an
road.
easement, but so the county doesn't, but then at that point, understanding Mike, they've got to go through all the permitting, utilities, septic, et cetera.
Kinda like those 2 guys that wanted to do it.
I'm not for sure.
Exactly.
When I
So,
looked
you're on
at
your
like
own
the
on this
state,
one.
whatever code or whatever, it was up to the area plan. But I don't know that it's an actual ordinance.
Do we need an ordinance for this?
For
To
the minor
allow a
subdivision?
minor subdivision, yeah.
Say yes to cover up butts.
Well,
So
So if I have 5 acres, and we split it and put another house on it, and then split it again and put 3 houses on it, does the ordinance that we talked about before, that you couldn't split the same property more than once?
So you're saying we need an ordinance for 3 to 5? Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, would that other ordinance not cover that, because I wouldn't be able to split it a 3rd time?
The original ordinance is only gonna cover up to 2. You're done.
If it's got a
Right, so
house,
I wouldn't be able to split it a 3rd time.
Correct. But then we have ordinances for subdivisions, but we do not have any ordinances to classify this as a minor subdivision, 3 to 5.
Okay, so we need an ordinance because the other one wouldn't cover it.
Yes.
Probably not, yeah.
So what kind of paperwork do you have to submit for this?
it would be similar to a regular split. That's kind of what that is.
Okay, so
But-
minor subdivision doesn't require all the engineering.
No.
No.
If you see like
Five.
someone comes to me, say they, like in a situation where she's talking, she's got her she's in 5 acres just because that's what she said. It's already been split twice, so it's already beyond that. So technically, you can't split it again for development to build a home site.
So I'd
There-
have to have it re-ordinance to amend.
This would fall under that because even though you're beyond the 2, you may only want the 1, so you don't have to divide it 5 times, you just need 1 more.
But using her example then, so she has 2 existing structures, you can create a minor subdivision that includes all 3.
Correct.
Yes.
2 existing.
Yeah, as long as it passes all the other stuff, just like, my intent would be to require soil tests for the potential sites, maybe even drainage review.
So now we're getting into Cindy's. She's got a valid point. That ordinance for 3 to 5 has to have these requirements that you're rattling off right now.
What
Okay.
would be the benefit of doing this?
There's a huge demand for it.
I'm just, I
Yeah.
don't understand, why?
'Cause
Why do you wanna be?
This minor subdivision is the alternative to the accessory dwelling unit. Because people have farmland or huge farms, they've already give their sons and daughters property off the original 40 acres. Now grandson and his
Wants
new
to
wife they all want to, it's
So the loop
generational
around
land,
the other- The loop around the other ordinance is this. Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Well,
not-
otherwise you'd have to create 10-acre tracts for
Yeah,
each
yes.
new building site.
Right,
Yes.
and
This would avoid that.
and people have had to do that. They're like, well, Grandpa was gonna give me 6 acres. I'm like, well, I can't do it for 6 acres, you gotta do 10.
And then
Retroactively, I could have like, all right, yeah, we can do 6 acres. All you gotta do is,
do the math.
it's just a change in terminology, a few more requirements just to make sure that they're serious about it, And I could probably pull up 15 different people that would benefit from this right now. They've
So-
tried to do it, yeah.
So we got the cart a little bit ahead of the horse. I think we better back up and come up with a list of ordinances. A list meaning it's got to be 10 acres. It can be, you're going to have to put something in there on the acreage, correct?
Right.
Well, yeah, what do we have in our existing subdivision ordinance to
Which one is that? 5? Last amended in 1992?
On top of that.
We are.
I think there's 2 things that would trip this. One is the acres, and 2 accessibility.
Right.
It would still be the minimum requirements for the, whatever zoning district it's in. So, ag, minimum 1 acre, so I won't split a building lot even in normal circumstances under an acre without a variance.
There's gonna be 2 pages of this just to try to get this spelled out.
But I put a phrase in there, must meet all the other requirements in the zoning district. So that means if it happens to be an L1, which there's not very many in L1 that would qualify, or U1 or S1. But there's some out there, but not many. So some of them have access to public sewer. It's already there. They don't, if Twin Lakes Sewer District's available, then they don't need as much acreage because they don't need the septic field.
Marion, what were you gonna say?
It says, which, I think you had said, and you also said that, accessible from the road. This seems like it would be really good for, all of those wooded acres that are along the creek sides. That would be going deeper, so there'd be a shared drive, and we would want to make sure that would be allowed, so they don't each have to have a drive to the road.
Right.
But it wouldn't have to be a subdivision, if there would be like platted streets, like a
Correct.
subdivision would require. So a shared drive would be okay, but you wouldn't have to go to the extent of making a street.
Right, to eliminate county expenses, update, or
Yeah.
maintain,
Right,
maintenance.
yeah.
This seems like this would be, all those people that live along the creek, all those beautiful wooded areas back there, that seems like that would be a great way to start.
Non-agricultural farming, yeah.
Yeah. And then I put in there.
As long as it's not floodplains.
I put in there specifically, there has to be, because they can split off land in the floodplain as long as it's not for developmental purposes. It's just
Right.
like, hey,
But you
I
can't
want to
build
buy
in the
5
floodplain.
acres of hunting ground.
Well, and you
If
can't
they-
put your septic system in flood.
Right, yeah. So there's other things that kind of checks and balances it, in my opinion. And like I said, there is something in there that says, you can't force the county to plow you a new street in. If you got an existing driveway or an easement through a property,
So do we need to establish a committee to come up with these, or can you come up with this, Cindy?
With his help, I probably can come up with it. It's his idea, so I think he's kind of got the vision of what he wants it to be. I mean, what's going to be the maximum size you would be thinking?
since you can already essentially do it if you got 10 acres or more, so it should be,
10
the
acres or
minimum lot size up to 9.9, or less than 10.
More than that.
And how many homes?
That's what I'm saying.
No,
We have
less
to
than
change
5?
the
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it'd be less than 5
What a subdivision is.
home sites.
If we're gonna have a minor subdivision.
Yeah,
You said more than, so 3 to 5 is
I,
there something magic about?
There's no doubt.
a lot of places can do up to 2 already. A lot of places have already been beyond 2.
Yeah, that's kind of what I.
So the ones that have already had beyond 2, this gives them an opportunity that, hey, we could do one more, or,
But do they have to be, so do they need to be contiguous? So if you've got, say, a 40-acre parcel that has one here and one here, does that third one need to be contiguous?
Why?
I'm asking.
Yeah, I wouldn't see why.
there's, what's really popular now, and you guys know this, is splitting off the wooded areas from the farmland, and a lot of the folks want to keep the wooded land in the family. So, to me, it's like, well, if you got a couple suitable building sites there, this would be something an option for them, whether they intend on building there or not. It's an option, because, like, again, it's generational, you know? When they,
So I'm asking, this is an 80-acre tract right there.
mm-hmm,
The homestead house is built right here.
mm-hmm.
The woods is, we're gonna make it clear back here. So we can't put another driveway in, correct?
You'd have to get approval from county highway.
Yeah, and they have their own things that they check and you know, drainage tile sizes and stuff. that
Well,
they
I'm just
require.
saying, earlier you made the comment that you have to use the same access point.
Not that you have to. It,
Well, it does say must use when possible, but it might not be possible with what you're suggesting.
But if you're putting your other homes back in the woods, that wouldn't be a minor subdivision because it'd be at the opposite end of the property from the.
well,
But
Technically,
this
that-
80 acres is one tract.
Well,
This is, if
a lot of
she
lot of
owned an
times-
80-acre tract,
yeah.
bigger scale, who cares? 80-acre tract. Yeah, I'm gonna blow it out of proportion. There's 2 houses up here already. It's been split twice. But there's 5 acres of woods back here. She wants to go back there and build 3 more houses. There is no driveway through this 60 acres of tillable ground.
So it'd be a matter of an easement, right?
Well, no, you do.
Use existing driveway if you can, and then an easement, because that's how they do them for, even if you didn't do the subdivision, you got one split up
No, I
here.
get it. I'm just saying that what she brought up is gonna be a bigger deal than what we realize. Because, I mean, we're all thinking 10-acre tracts. You know, I'm just saying, if Merriam has 80 acres and there's woods clear in the back, hasn't been farmed for 200 years. Hey, I can utilize this back here. But there's no way I'm gonna put a driveway through the middle of this field. I guarantee that. That's just common ag. So they're gonna wanna come back and say, well, we're gonna put another driveway in right here.
And you wouldn't need to say must use existing driveway, I don't think that's necessary. The important part is must not require new public roads, utilities.
Right.
I mean, that's the part that
Right.
should protect the county.
That's fine. I just was
And then that-
trying to,
No, I'm not critiquing, I'm just saying, I'm trying to prepare us
Yeah.
for bullet holes. I mean, because even for this back here, you're talking a whole new set of utilities going back.
yeah.
And obviously, that's gonna be at the expense of whoever's building the houses, I get it. But I'm just saying, when you made the comment, use existing drive or easement, well, wait a minute, we're not gonna chop this field up.
We can take it out or reword it however you see fit.
I would like to make a suggestion, and you hit the nail on the head. We all need to sit down, not here, but somewhere else.
Or, I mean, let him throw out what he wants, and then we can pick it apart, but I don't think this is a 1 or 2 meeting
No, this is.
I think.
decision.
I think small subdivisions are out there, and I would not recommend that you look at Cleveland County, because theirs is.
Yeah, theirs is just like their regular subdivision, which is, to me, is what's the point?
Yes, but that's becoming more of a thing, is the small, what do you call it?
Minor subdivision.
Is becoming more of a thing, so it might be language already out there that addresses it. One of the other questions I had is, I asked about whether it needs to be contiguous, but getting to think about that 80-acre parcel, you don't want to have sawtooth parcels out of there, so a parcel here, and then farmland here, and then a parcel here, and then farmland here, down the road, that's, as a farmer, that's silly, but you end up with that if you aren't careful on how you zone around.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, I like the whole idea, because you can utilize without taking out more farm ground to build other house residential sites. Just like she said, there's a field by us, I mean, it'd be perfect, you take a little bit, and it's all
In a
along the
normal
creek.
circumstance, regardless whether it's a subdivision or not, you can't split off a parcel without an easement or a roadway,
Well, yes, but
unless you own all the land all the way around it.
yeah, you would still have to do the road book, and even if you own the land, like the acre parcel we were talking about there, you would want to have a separately described
Easement,
access.
yeah.
Even if you still own.
Right.
And some people they don't want an easement, they want an actual plat, it's part of the parcel, so it's part of the acreage, just because they don't want to have anybody challenging them down the road. So,
My question is, do we want this approved from the administrator, the executive, or do we want a minor subdivision brought before area plan?
The whole purpose is to avoid that. So
Well-
by having it described, hopefully we wouldn't have to do that.
Then my concern is, I think the law, Indiana law defines a subdivision. If it's a subdivision, it has to be approved by a public hearing. I don't know, I mean, it's been a long time since I've read that.
That would be something to check into.
Okay.
If that's just semantics.
Right, and we could call this a parcelization or something instead of a minor subdivision. If that's,
Splits beyond,
We don't know what John's
splits between 3 and 5.
Well, and that would actually work, because we've got the current can have no more than 2 splits, and just lean into that, like, tuck it into there, and say, can, splits between, 3 and 5 would have these requirements.
Well, on that too, also, like, if I was to say, no, you can't do that, that's a horrible idea. They could be like, well, I want to take it before the APC and essentially appeal my decision or whatever, right?
Right.
That would be, that's the checks and balance.
I
You know,
do
so-
like the idea of get the description of mini subdivision. I feel like that opens up.
I Googled the difference between, let's see, what did I Google? Oh, I don't know. I Googled the difference between a minor and a major subdivision, and Mason and Associates law firm or land surveying popped up, and it says no, I just lost it, hold on. A general rule of thumb, a minor subdivision is used to describe the subdivision of a plot of land into 4 or fewer individual parcels, and a major subdivision, on the other hand, is over 5 or more parcels.
that's subject to the county they're working in.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as calling it a minor subdivision, that's just the term I chose that everybody would be able to identify what we're trying to achieve. We have parcel, like Bob said, parcelization, because apparently that was a term that used to be used in this building to do the same thing. I don't know that there was ever an ordinance on that.
My recommendation is that, Mike, if you could put together a list for her to type up, give us something to look at.
Okay.
Then we can change it, refine it, whatever we need to do. And we can even come up with a title of this later. But I
Okay.
think to get started, if we have something to look at that will ring our bell and
Yeah.
say, well, we need to think of this, what about this?
Yeah. And
And try to work through it in pieces.
yeah, and that's fine. I appreciate that.
Yeah, general outline.
Like I said, this is, my intent is to fill a gap. There's a
Oh,
huge gap.
I've got a guy who works for me that is wanting that. He's ran into the same problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to tell people no, like, nope, it's already way beyond.
Grandma and grandpa owned the 40 acres. They've already split it for the daughter, and now he's the next, well, he's a brother. And of course, they had a verbal agreement that he would get 6 acres. Well, now he can't split it because it's already been
Yeah.
split twice.
Well, one individual did have the opportunity for one more split and called me and said, hey, Junior wants an acre, tell him no. He goes, I don't want to be the bad guy. I said, I'll be the bad guy, it's fine. Yeah, it's like, I don't really like Junior that much. He
But I-
wrote himself out of the will. you
But I
know?
think if we have that, that'll give us something more.
Well, another way I see that it could help too is some of the people who are in specific religious groups that they all live together. It's been really tough getting, they want to give each of their 7 sons, an area there too. So that's something we might be able to use that to help with too,
Did,
because they usually just
No.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, they just did.
So,
No,
yeah,
really?
not trying to bring up, but where did the current split application, I mean, did that all go through everything years ago, or?
1972, so as part of the original zoning ordinance.
Yeah.
1972.
It's updated.
Yeah, not 1872.
Almost.
This bill here going too?
But this, like she was saying, this, like the Amish, they're trying to figure out how to entrust their generational land to how many different people,
Yeah.
you know, and how do you get everybody's name all on the same?
I've got one that brought in 3 today. He wants to give 3 of his kids part of that area. He wrote up his own legal description too.
What, I'm just curious, what is the criteria, like, you start buying farm ground and you brought 4 of the 80-acre tracts.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever gets that changed to one 240-acre tract?
It's a combination.
Combo it, get a new legal description with the whole
So
thing.
just a new survey?
One and legal description, and then if it's across section lines, they can't combine them.
Or tax district lines.
You
Mhm.
can, but it still has to have 2 parcel numbers.
Yeah.
People just don't mess with that? I mean, there's a lot of.
No, we're
ground
working on it, right?
that's
We're
never
working on
really-
303 acres right
It
now.
depends on who your attorney is, and when I get clients who have purchased land that's continuous, one of the things I tell them is, okay, now is the time for you to combine that, so you just have one tax, or 1 or 2 tax
Yeah.
receipts rather than 5.
Right.
And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I had a client once that came in, okay, my dad was one of these too, but I had an actual client come in once and brought me a handful, and he said, these are all together, I want them to combine as much as possible. And I did that for him. And he had a bunch of like 5 acre, 10 acre, a bunch of little ones that we combined into, I think it was.
And they were probably all part of the same parcel originally anyway.
Yes, and that's actually, from my perspective, it makes it easier, because like you said, you're combining stuff that had been separated out. And it's sort of the reverse of when I die and give it to all my kids, when my kids now have sold it all back, and some other farmer collects them all up and wants them combined back again.
You don't have to go to farmers. I got neighbors over there on Fremont, the bios that have 3 tax bills for 1 piece of property.
Yeah. Another example
It's like,
that I deal
was just
with.
thinking, why would you?
Another example that I deal with sometimes is like, especially with the heartland or where the highways, they move the bridge or whatever. So, you know, for instance, over on the Tippy, there's a guy that's 20 some acres. Well, they moved the highway back in 1981 and cut 3 acres off of his 25 acres. They both have the same parcel ID number. He didn't order that split. It was, you know, that wasn't his choice, and they didn't split it to create a new building site. So in my mind, in reading the definitions, that doesn't count as one of the 2 split rules. Because you know, he didn't split it to create a new home site over there.
The state did it for him.
The state did it for him, and it's the same thing with the Heartland, it's chopped them all up, so stuff like that, it's like, well, that's a no-brainer. You know, they didn't, maybe some of them wanted it to happen, but I don't think they really did.
Okay, so
Well, we'll see what we can come up with before the next meeting, and then if it's still not enough, or we need to
modify it again.
call a committee or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's something we wanna make really overly wordy.
Yeah, I think it should be,
No, I just,
that's
the
why I
more I
put
thought about that, the
page-
more,
Yeah.
page 1
It
of
does need its own.
2.
yeah.
I was planning on, okay, so it could potentially be a 2-page form.
Well, and I
You're
think
only
we
gonna allow
have
2.
to, I think we.
Well, I was just,
Not 1
You
of
know,
10.
I think
One
we
of
have to
10.
look long range though too, Mike. I mean, it's a great idea, but what happens if you're not in the position? in 5 years, or something happens.
If I'm not,
Yeah, like.
Well, it
you
should
know
be
what I
in the
mean? Like-
ordinance to where it doesn't
No, that's what
matter.
I'm saying, I think we
Yeah.
have to have it in here so that if you're not here in 25
Yeah.
years and somebody doesn't understand it,
She's mapping out your career.
well, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah, well, they don't train you for stuff like this in Army school.
Well, the last ordinance lasted 54 years.
right, I just think, I mean, it's a great idea,
Yeah.
I just think we have
No,
to have something.
I agree with you, and that's the direction I'm trying to go, is to fill that void, you know, clean it up a little bit, because I can interpret it as it is now in there, but there's a few loose ends, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want you to think, I don't think it's, I'm just trying to
No,
blow it up
Great
to,
idea.
Well, that's why-
We need to.
Right.
That's why I brought it up, it's the biggest things that we get calls
yeah, that
about.
one lasted 24 years, so,
Yeah.
or 54 years.
Right.
It's,
Okay.
it's a, and we could, I suppose, Lori and I were discussing this, maybe in this situation, the fees would be different than the regular split fees, because I only charge $50 to approve
yeah.
a split.
Does it really need to be $50 for a subdivision? Seems a little cheap.
It's per parcel.
Per
No,
parcel.
it said $5 per parcel. $50 and then 5.
Oh, for the actual subdivision?
Yeah.
That needs to be raised.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
I
I don't-
think
I don't
that
know if
needs to
that's
be looked
correct.
at.
It's probably a
But-
typo or
but
something.
Cindy, don't you think we're gonna have to go through the subdivision ordinance and
It
revise definitions for this?
Ancient language. and-
Well, I mean, it wouldn't have anything, it doesn't have anything about a minor subdivision
Oh.
or a parcelization.
Good point. Ben, so, point was made that, comprehensive plan needs to be updated sooner than later. Because there's ways, I guess the comprehensive plan could trump the ordinances on, not in this situation, but generally speaking. So, and he said that there's a way to get a grant somehow to cover it.
Yeah,
Most of it.
Curbsy does that.
Mind if I address?
Please do.
She helped with the first one.
So yes, and one of the reasons why I think it's really critical, and I know you all have bridged into it prior to an extent here, but I think it is going to be even more critical that you look at updating the comprehensive plan, because the state of Indiana, the General Assembly, is really looking hard at putting a law in place that would allow, you were saying, would allow the comprehensive plan to control if your zoning doesn't. So that puts us in a position of having outdated zoning ordinance and then having a comprehensive plan that people could go to and say, well, your ordinance says I can't do this, but your comprehensive plan says that I can do this, so therefore I can do this. So updating that comprehensive plan so it has what we want as a county in it, I think is important, and it's also required for the next step to update our zoning ordinance.
Yeah, and the zoning ordinance would essentially cover, encapsulates
But
the subdivision too, right?
The problem has been getting the money
Yeah.
to do it.
Yes,
The commissioners have not been willing to.
They don't want to pay for anything.
well, Okra does, and we've got Emily Albaugh, who's a Florida resident, she's the executive director for CURPC, which is, the county is a member of CURPC. She can help us get Okra money, and that can fund a substantial portion of it. I don't know if it'll fund all of it, but the match is really like a 20% match versus a 50% match. And these things cost between $50,000 and $100,000 to do.
You have to hire a company that specializes in that, then you create committees that get together and talk about all the different sections of it.
Florida just redid theirs
Yes.
zoning ordinance,
And,
correct?
They did the comprehensive
Comprehensive plan.
And they had to do that as part of their infrastructure upgrade.
So you said 20%, we put in 80%?
No,
The other way.
the other way.
We put in 20, they put in 80.
And don't quote me on that,
And what
but
does
I'm just
Okra
saying it's a
stand for?
substantial match. Sorry?
What's Okra stand for?
Office of Community and Rural Affairs.
Okay.
So how do we get that initiated and get started for the grant money?
Well, okay, so we can, I recommend you all, maybe start looking at getting quotes. And Ben Bennett, who's with,
I can never remember.
he's with a consulting firm. But he's here a lot.
He comes to almost every commissioners meeting and all
And we
that.
work
He's,
with him, with
the
the
EDC.
Economic Development Corporation works with him as well. He's very knowledgeable. But we can get, you can get multiple quotes to provide this service. We can, take that to, Curbsy and get their information on what the match would look like, and then we can take it to the commissioners and get their approval to move forward with it.
Do we get 3 quotes, or do you just get 2?
I think you only really need to get one. but
It's
it
a
wouldn't be a bad
professional
idea.
service, so yeah, you could get by with one, I think.
But it wouldn't hurt to have two, just so
Yeah.
that you have some integrity of the bidding process, because these are expensive projects.
So, not to be aggressive on this, but this sounds like it needs to be done.
well, I mean,
It's gonna take a long time to do
I was
it.
gonna say, it's not gonna be
well,
fast.
So
and
we
like
need
you
to get
said,
that
you know,
ball.
Probably need
It's
2
not
years.
years the
time.
last time, it took 2 years the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
2008.
who's gonna get the quotes?
So what she's saying.
well, I'll get with Ben and tell him to dust off his original quote, you know.
Does she still work for
Is what I
somebody
just
that does
heard.
that?
I don't think she does.
I mean, my point is, the first grant money, we need to act on this.
Yeah.
And you, or, I mean, I'd be happy to reach out to Emily Albaugh on your behalf and say, hey, the area plan commission.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, because I assume that the EDC would need to have some, because
They'll have representation.
they're gonna need to be involved in it too, and you're on their board too, right? So, yeah.
Remember,
And,
many different organizations.
and like I said, I think,
Yes.
things are getting a little bit more receptive, so, you know, we keep moving forward and maybe not dump too much all at one time, you know?
Because you're up there.
I don't,
You're just a jump over.
No,
Well,
Is our recording still on?
It is.
my concern is that the Indiana General Assembly is going to take action that's going to make this problematic for our county if we don't look like we're getting underway to get things
And did that bill didn't get passed
I
though,
don't
right?
think it did.
I think it got stalled out because too many people were throwing a fit about,
Well, and it's a short session, so not only is it a short session, it was shortened because of the whole redistricting
Right.
thing.
yeah, they want the Bears instead of us.
It's more important.
more money there.
I just think, yeah, I'd pursue a quote, at least initiate the ball, get it rolling.
Oh, Emily can tell you what, the
Yes,
steps,
she is
I mean,
excellent
she's
at that.
done it many times.
So it sounds like by the time this is done, we'll all be off the board. What?
It's gonna take more than 1, 2, 3, 4 votes.
But thank you, I'm glad you brought that up, I wanted to make
I'll
sure.
be
you
your
Yeah,
guys
that-
knew we were-
Seems like a huge concern, actually.
And
He's ignoring us.
zoning ordinance, because I'll have him do a quote for the zoning ordinance update too. We may not pitch them both at the same time, but if he's gonna be doing the work, or, you know, going through all that stuff anyways, might as well.
Okay, so back to the prices. This appears to maybe have been updated. It's a different font. On the last page of zoning ordinance 5, it says procedure for subdivision, charges $50 plus $5 per lot. Submit rough plan to the area plan commission, get sewage and water worked out with the county and the state. Plans by a surveyor appear before the APC with detailed plans. If in city, approved by city council, if in county, approved by commissioners.
It should be like $2,500.
That needs to be more than $50.
I think Tippecanoe County is 500
I mean,
A lot,
Plus-
or,
plus, you know,
Across-
50 or 100 per lot.
I mean, I'm okay with 500 plus 50 or 100 per lot, or 250 and 100, but it needs to be something
yeah,
besides.
I don't feel like that's what we charge,
It's probably
Seagulls.
been changed
Yeah,
as
it's
far as
been
the amounts,
Could we
but it
fund
never
it?
really got put in.
it's
And
posted
that's
on the
fine,
bulletin
I
board down
just-
in front of our office.
Yeah, fee sheet.
And in,
So what would that look like if something was pursued to change that?
Yeah, I mean, we need to get it changed in the books, if it's down there on the bulletin board, we need it here.
well, you just,
Also, and make copies and give it to us, or, I mean, you know something we don't.
I just don't want,
We don't wanna say something to, say Mary Ann's here and she's wanting to do this, and we read this to her, and then it gets put in the notes. then you tell her something different when she comes in.
I mean, I've never had anybody ask me to see the ordinances, but I just wanna make sure that
We need to
what you
more
have is
on
what
those
here,
teaching
you know what I
classes.
mean? Like, just so everything's covered.
Yeah, but realtors, attorneys, land surveyors, they rely on what's here.
Right.
Do you have?
Because that's-
Posted on the website?
Is this stuff
Yeah.
posted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The website, yeah, it's,
We gotta change it.
I'm
who has
backing up.
access to the website and who changes it?
Well, I'm backing up.
Try to
What
do
is-
that.
What is the protocol?
No, he doesn't.
Every once in a while.
No, he won't do it.
What it-
He's retiring too.
Doesn't matter, back up. What's the protocol to change an existing ordinance like that? I think you gotta start there first before you just,
We just establish what needs to be changed in it, have a hearing on it, take it back to the commissioners.
Isn't the fee schedule a little easier though?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
this is
this-
nothing that requires a public hearing or anything in the nature of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything owing money requires a public hearing.
So, do you
Does
see
it
what I'm
have to
saying?
go
We're
to
not just gonna jump on a website and
I'm
change this.
assuming that they approved the fee schedule, right?
Probably, yeah, probably.
That
It's
was,
just
what, it
never
was
been
2017
changed in
or
the
something?
book.
It was done, would have done that in 16 or 17.
So we need to go back to the
Because it was
minutes in
done when I
16 or
started in
17 and then update these? I'm just asking, I don't wanna make more work for you, I just think this needs
Well,
to
it's-
match.
So,
I don't know if it involves paying someone $12,000 just to rewrite, you know.
No, things
The-
like, just the fees, that can be changed.
well, how about we just, do we have access to this fee schedule?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Bring that next meeting, we'll go
Because
from
if
there.
it's already been done, if it was approved in 16 or 17, I think it's probably just gonna be as simple as printing a new page.
Why don't we look at the fee schedule?
yeah, probably so, yeah.
At the next meeting, and then we'll,
I mean, we're not asking you to change it.
and take it from there. I think that'd be a better approach.
Well, and you can also go back to what ordinance approved that, I would assume, right? It would have had to have been done by ordinance. Would the county commissioners have had to have approved the fee schedule? I would have thought,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
So it's a public record somewhere.
yeah.
I think I would just start there, give you something to look at. So,
Sideways.
the minor subdivision, we're on the same page. You'll give her something to type up and get something for us to look at the next meeting. Next item on the list is director's report.
He's tired of telling
Bit
us.
tired of talking.
I think I've pretty much told you about everything. One thing of note, the Army Corps of Engineers reached out to myself and at least Mike Fincher asking for roadways that are known to flood. They're wanting to provide us with some signs that would say, don't, it's some catchy little term, don't cross here unless you want to die. You know, don't cross running water. So, just saying, so they asked for feedback on potential sites that would benefit from that. Obviously, the Tippy, all the way down, all that stuff is my first thought. I forwarded it on to Hunter, Alderman, the highway superintendent, if there's any other county roads that flash flood or have flash flooded. So that's something, you know, I'm gonna put a list. I came up with 12 signs that could possibly be placed. So I gotta go get GPS coordinates on all those, name the roads, give a description, take pictures.
There's
Send
only
it all
12
in.
places in the whole county that is flash flood.
Well, that I've identified on one waterway. It's a whole county, you know, so I just
Wouldn't
got
that
it.
be-
Isn't there one
On the
right there on
FEMA map?
100 north,
Huh?
south of your property? It
Would
says
that show up on?
high
the
water.
Well,
FEMA map?
Yeah.
that was my thought, like, I thought they would know all that stuff, but,
There used to be a sign,
Yeah, that somebody had
pull down.
Yeah, somebody can
It's a
drop it
half
down.
sign, you fold it
Yeah.
down, but 100 just there floods.
Yeah, I don't know if, the gist I got was not for standing water, it's for rushing water, like, as in the
Oh, it's
dam.
rushing when it, but it's, I've only ever seen it once in the 24
Again,
years.
I don't drive out there,
When did we get
so-
the high rain? 200 was completely underwater. When Sean lost me, because Dave and I went, and it was completely underwater from my place all the way to 29.
Huh.
Did you drive through it?
That was.
Would a sign have stopped you?
No.
Would a sign have stopped you?
No, we were after saving goats.
It might have
Yeah.
slow down.
What?
Yeah, but I was shocked to see that road went completely
Well, and I'm
underwater.
assuming they'll mail me all these signs, and then I'll be like, hey, county highway, can you put all these up? And they're like, yeah, they just don't meet the standards. I assume, because state highway, I'm sure they have to be bought by a certain company and printed, you know. I'm just letting you know that that's something,
Project working on it.
you know, it's a big what if. This is like for,
Like 10 years, 15?
yeah, pretty much all the roads directly down from the dam would definitely, in my mind, qualify. I don't know if there's access to 100 of them, maybe the resources are limited. Like I said, I'm just starting to put the list together, so.
Okay. Cindy, you got anything to report?
See what I've been doing, so that's about it.
Does the board have any other additional concerns?
I got two. One thing I talked about, he brought up in the last meeting, with everything that's going on, we need a building inspector, flat out. We gotta figure out how to get two, I know two that are interested in, on this board behind us.
And the way it stands now, Bill Brown is the building inspector.
He is the county building inspector if anything goes wrong. He is supposed to be inspecting everything, and there's all kinds of codes. I got a guy that went and built in a house, and he was, my God, you know, the wiring in there. It was a flip house, and somebody else bought it, and they rewired it because it was that bad. But we,
It's
why?
gonna take a lawsuit for him before he sees it as an issue.
But you were
Just
saying.
find the money.
Delphi has a building inspector, and you have FEMA, but we could combine the two, could we not?
Yeah, well,
You had lunch with somebody we're gonna have, when we talked, it was on a Monday or something like that.
oh, yeah. So,
We, by law,
by,
have to have one.
by happenstance, Doug Wagner is the city of Delphi's residential building inspector. So, I mean, we have a interlocal agreement, is that to share me as the
Yeah,
floodplain development director. So I would assume maybe the pitch would be to share with Delphi, whoever they're contracted with, or whatever. And this was also my idea for the nuisance ordinance, long time down the road, is maybe a coordinated code enforcement type of person. So that's my plan, not specifically Doug Wagner, but someone that doesn't necessarily work for the county or the city, but are essentially a contractor.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can do that, you put fees down, the electrical
Yeah.
inspection, the plumbing
Right,
inspection.
but you're getting into an additional employee and you gotta come up with the funds.
The fees would be transferred on to the developer or the property owner.
Right.
Be like, hey, you have to have at minimum foundation inspection, electrical inspection, and what
There's
stuff.
a list, I mean, last year, 2023, the energy codes, you are supposed to do the wall, the roof, the ceiling, the basement, crawl space, anything, there's supposed to be a sticker on it, and there's not. That's a 2023 energy code.
But it's self-driven.
This is all Homeland Security running it. And,
So would there be enough fees to pay the salary?
yeah.
We wouldn't pay the salary, they would,
The builder pays.
the
for it.
builder
Homeowner
pays
pays.
a $75 fee for
User fee.
foundation inspection, $50 fee for the electrical inspection, and
Yeah.
whatever.
So,
And then you bring those papers.
It's like a
Into
receipt.
you?
Yeah, and then,
When the building inspector approves it, they bring it to you and you can,
the compliance
Give them the-
certificate saying, hey, they checked all the boxes.
One of
That's,
the things that these guys complain about is they go, oh, the cost of the house is gonna go up. No kidding, if the cost of the house goes up.
They already-
the appraisal goes up, therefore you're getting more tax revenue.
If they're, here's how I look at it. Residential especially. If you're building a $400,000 house and a reputable company's building it, they're having it inspected anyway.
No, they're not.
The mortgage companies are.
The appraisal company should be,
Like, if you buy a home on a VA loan, it's getting inspected.
Did TK come out and do that house by me? Have it
It's
inspected?
not my job to check on that. I don't have anything to do with that right now.
I have not seen an inspector anywhere.
A
There are
reputable
people
builder
inspecting
would-
homes. I know that. They are. Maybe not all of them, but it's
so-
happening.
how do we make this work? How do we make this happen?
We're gonna have to put something together like we did for
The-
everything else.
the
Nuisance ordinance.
nuisance
stay out.
ordinance?
I mean, I went out 4 years ago and copied stuff, and I sent it to these three which 10 years old of what the fee schedule is for Lafayette, Tippecanoe County. But they keep going higher and higher.
So how do we pay for it though? Like,
But you're saying it's self-funded,
Yeah, yes, you.
but
You would work in, and you've all been alluding to that, you would work in for each inspection, the actual cost
Yeah.
of that inspection. And the money would have to go through the county coffers, but it would be, the inspector would be contracted, he would be as needed, and he would be paid per inspection.
He would file a claim
so he
to the
would,
county for services rendered.
so he's not on county payroll,
he or she would not be on the
benefits,
county
none of
payroll,
that.
they would be per inspection.
Yeah, but, you know, I like that idea because I was afraid you were saying that the builder or homeowner is gonna pay the inspector. I don't think that's a connection we want.
So what do you do about insurance?
Sorry,
What do you do on insurance? We have a,
for the
well, we have a county inspector going on someone's property, and he
Yeah,
falls
carries on
down there.
business
Yeah,
insurance.
they'll be in the business.
They're
So
licensed.
they'll be independent
It'd be like an
contractors.
inspector
won't
that
be a
goes out
county,
to the
they'll
house.
be-
Okay.
Like if you're buying a house and you have a third-party inspector, that's who, I mean, they're contracted out, just like this person be contracted out. The builder would have to have somebody come in, seem like, here's your list, boom. And they tell you what days that they've been there and inspected, and they hand the money over to the county.
Which kind of makes me wonder why we haven't done this before, if it's costing. you-
Yeah, if it's that self-funded, I mean, why not?
I knew that we hadn't, and it is not one.
We don't need inspections in this county, is what
Okay,
I've been
that,
told.
okay.
But we're one of 3 counties in the state that don't have an inspector. And the eyeballs are on us. I've talked to people from Homeland Security, guys in Greencastle, Indiana. He goes, all eyes are on this county. And with Mike saying that we've got developers starting to look at this area on the Heartland, Lafayette, we're a bedroom community. We're right down the road, 30 minutes.
So we need to generate a fee schedule.
A proposal.
Proposal.
You'll need to have that included in your zoning ordinances as a requirement. And then, figure out a package of story to show the commissioners that it's needed and desirable, not invasive, which is probably where they're going with it. I don't think my home is.
Can we use what Delphi's done? I mean, surely they've got an ordinance or something that, why can't we look at that?
Oh,
I think,
Tippecanoe,
sure that-
Old West
John,
Howard County.
what's a typical inspection cost?
The building
Couple
inspector.
$1,000 by the time you do the whole house. From
So,
start to
They've
finish.
got a
We
lot
had-
of trips.
Well, yeah, I mean, those guys have trips. The inspectors have a lot of trips out there. I mean, they do the foundation, they come back and do this.
How does Flora do theirs? Or do they?
They don't.
Just curious.
They're on the county plan?
Okay.
No, well, actually, they're not. That's in Florida's its own zoning district.
They're on the tail light plan. As long as you don't see
So-
tail lights, you're good.
When I refurbished my office in Flora, all I had to get was, no, I didn't have to get anything.
So do you run orange extension cord through your house like
Yes.
I've seen people?
This is my
Brown.
office.
Put the carpet over it.
It's right behind the drywall.
And DK did it, so we know that it was done right.
Right.
It was from IKEA, so.
Yeah.
So it's flat. Okay, so
China.
in 2025, we had 51 new home permits.
And all 51 homes should have been inspected.
So a foundation, an electrical,
Plumbing, roofing.
plumbing.
Septic.
Oh,
Oh, can
So
we write so fast?
We just need to
Framing.
come up with a,
What else?
Water,
Water?
And while Mike is correct, that for new home construction that's being financed, the funder, the bank is gonna require a certain amount of inspections. That doesn't mean they're gonna require all of it.
talk to the banks in Howard County, they don't send anybody over here.
So
'cause
we'll
yeah, the
do-
problem is the banks are interested in the value, not that it's done 100% correct.
Exactly.
right, they wanna make sure that they're a secured debt.
You know, these coast.
So we need to come up with a resource of
$1,000 would be.
the list of inspections and the cost to get
Grab one.
established,
For starters.
and then basically a job description for a contractor, because we're saying that they're not on payroll.
I'll share what Delphi does with Cindy, because that's what Delphi does. They use a contractor, and then their fee schedule based upon what's being inspected and.
Because at 51 homes, Chip's
So
saying,
does this guy carry a license?
Yeah, has to be licensed, yes, to be licensed, electrical, plumbing.
Okay,
bonded,
Yeah.
insured,
Yeah.
Right.
so he'll have a list of criteria to qualify.
Insurance and everything.
Yeah, that's last I heard.
It's contract.
I haven't talked to him personally about it, but,
It's like when a guy lives your.
and he knows well enough to remove himself from conflicting himself. And as far as I know, he got approval from the DNR to do it too.
These guys have to.
So I'm just looking at it from our requirements, we need a contractor that is da-da-da-da-da-da-da, certified, bonded, et cetera.
I think he's clearly up to, I can't or won't do industrial stuff, I know that.
Residential for our.
Yeah.
That's gonna get,
Is it industrial, that goes back to the state. It's how we do it now.
okay. You said two things, was that two, or was that just one?
That's one that I hit the hornet's nest with, didn't I?
he
So
likes to
what's your
do that.
second one?
This thing needs to be revised. If she's finding stuff from 1972 and this, we just need to sit down and go page by page.
Well,
It's gonna be
but
very
I think, but I think we
I know.
need to have the,
I know, but you know what I'm saying, if we're getting these guys involved, we need to go page by page. And when you're commissioner, then you will vote on this, says yes.
Yeah.
Did you see that bus coming, or did it just hit you on the way back?
What you do with these, you won't be revising this page by page. This is so outdated.
I know, but you know what I'm saying, it's 1972 and 2026, we
You'll
need,
start with one package.
right, it needs to be done. is
That
where
was a
I'm
good
going.
ordinance.
And I had told Cindy before, I
good
mean,
ordinance.
if we need to
Lasted
type this, I
55
can
years.
sit down and type it over the summer.
So we can talk.
Yeah, so do we,
If we need to retype all of this, like if we don't have, because you can't tell me we
Karen.
still have the,
work with me for a minute. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
so moved.
I move second.
Second.
Who made,
I've got that.
who made?
Whoever.
Whoever.
Carrie, I second.
Clarence.
I mean,
You
Do we
second?
have it digitally somewhere?
Right.
Aye.
I
Stop
assumed it was in-
streaming, stop recording.
I assumed it was in
Thank
the
you.
Okay,
original
now we can
carbon
talk.
copy
Put-
papers.
I mean,
Wait, put the.
there's software out there that'll convert it right over.
Put the computer down, then we know it's 100%.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. I can see the thing still going.
I need that one.